it's gonna be on sight. See my shoulder, make you rest up on me. You know I got you.
Hello, my friends, and welcome once again to the Law and Business Clinic on Aloore Radio. I am your business lawyer and coach, Akatu Ochai, and as always, it is a pleasure and a privilege to be able to speak with you on the Law and Business Clinic. Now, on the Law and Business Clinic today, we'll be discussing a very, very interesting topic. But before we go any further, of course, you must have noticed that we have a guest in the house today. So I'll be doing a brief introduction of our guest, and then we will take it up from there. So our guest is the Chief Executive Officer of Celia's Kitchen Nigeria Limited. Now, Celia's Kitchen Nigeria Limited is an indigenous player playing in the FCMG market. So that is the fast-moving consumer goods market. So basically, what they do is that they produce consumables. They produce consumables for our consumption delights. Right. So they are producers of such products as plantain chips, cocoyam chips, potato chips, and I think that there are a few more products that are in the what do you call it now?
Oven.
In the oven, that's right. A few more products in the oven, and they'll let us know. So our guest for today her name is Mrs. Linda Ochai. So just in case you haven't picked it up already from the name, this beautiful, enterprising lady is also the wife of Barrister Akatu Ochai. That is your humble presenter. So today we'll be talking about a very interesting topic, and that is the topic of creating structures in your business. Creating structures in your business. A lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs these days are running their businesses as what they call a one-man show. And the problem with running your business without structures is that one of the main challenges of running your business without structure lies in the fact that you can never step away from your business. You are your business, and your business is you. And so basically, the day you decide to go on vacation, that day you have to close up your business. And of course, that's not ideal for an entrepreneur or a business owner, because your business should be able to make money even when you are not there. Otherwise, I'd like to say it's a hobby and not a business. But I'm not going to talk a lot on this episode. I'm going to leave most of the talking to my guest, and we'll just basically have a conversation. And so I'll be asking you a few questions,
Okay.
in light of the topic that we're discussing.
Okay.
And what I want you to do is to explain as well as you can, in as much detail as you can, for our audience, how your business has grown, how you have structured your business, how your business has developed or evolved over time. So I want to start with my first question, really, and that is, how long have you been in business?
Presently, we've been in business for 3 years and a month.
Wow, 3 years and 1 month.
Yes.
So you're doing well. They say that the first few years are the most difficult years of a business.
Very true.
Right. So at the beginning of your business, how did you? Was it the typical one man business, and how did you go about it?
Yes, it was. So when we started, it was just me. So I was the producer, the marketer, the logistics person. I go to the market to source or produce myself. I do every single thing myself. And I must say it wasn't easy. But starting small, you do not have the capital to say, okay, I want to employ someone, to work for me or for whoever is starting that business. Except maybe you have funds, you have access to funds, to start your business. So you can say, okay, let me employ 1 or 2 people as I'm starting. But in my case, I didn't have that, luxury. So starting small, I had to do everything myself. And when the business started growing gradually and I was getting more customers, making more sales, it became really stressful, because at that point in time I still couldn't afford to pay salaries, so I couldn't employ someone, and I had to still do everything myself. The best at that point in time that I could get was employing part-time people that work per day, and then they receive their wages for that day. And a lot of times these people will disappoint you, because you might have an agreement that, okay, we're working tomorrow, and you buy all your produce, and then they don't show up and they don't call you, and then you end up doing everything yourself. And remember that you bought enough for 2 people, you and that person, so you end up doing it yourself. So that was the challenge. It wasn't easy, and it took up to at least almost 1 year, let me say, the 9th month, before I could even employ someone that I couldn't employ, someone I could pay, a lot of money. I was able to employ someone that I could just pay 15,000, and the person will work, some certain days and all of that. So
part-time.
Yeah, part-time worker. So it wasn't easy. We did, push from there. Presently, we have up to 4 staff, and they've been able to learn the job and be able to do it even in my absence. So, but it wasn't easy. We didn't get there in 1 day, even in 2 years, because if you still have these people, talking about structure, you might be too worried, which is the problem. The issue a lot of business people get is that they don't want to let their workers handle the production or handle the job in their absence. So the business is you are the business. You fall sick, nobody works, since you're not feeling fine. If you're out of town, there's no work. You understand? So that's basically it.
I mean, so you thank you so much. Thank you very much. You've also answered the second. You touched on the second and maybe even the third questions that I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
So, being, of course, the second question I want to ask you is that what are the challenges that you have faced in setting up your business and in excuse me.
Sorry.
Excuse me. Thank you very much. So, what are the challenges that you have faced in setting up your business, and then also trying to build the structure of your business?
Okay.
Or within your business?
Within business. I would say the first challenge is funding. You need money for everything in your business, even putting structure in place and all of that, because, with the money you're able to employ people that you can actually build that structure with. So funding was an issue, and, at a point in the business, even if we were making sales, we didn't have enough funds for production, and then we had to take a business loan. I'm not saying you should go and take a loan, but if it's something you can do and you be disciplined enough to pay back, so it's something you can actually do, instead of just sitting down and saying there is no fund for the business and so I can't start the business. So funding was an issue, major issue, but by the time we were able to work, save up, get the loan, put it in the business, because you understand again that at the beginning of your business, that's not the time for you to start spending all your money, your profit on yourself and saying, okay, I've worked hard, I have to just enjoy myself. These few first years, I would say from the 1 to 5 years, you're basically still building your business. That does not mean you won't pay yourself a salary, but you cannot just dip your hand into the funds that you have for your business and spend it however you please. So that's when you have to save up, so that you can have the funds to employ your workers, the marketer, the manager, and all of that. Then about building the structure for my business, it also wasn't easy. Why? Because when you even have the funds to employ people, you get people that are not even ready to work. They want to work, they need the job, they need the money, but they don't really want to put in their best. And the challenge most of the business people have is that when they even get these people to work, in their factory or in their business, whether you're producing, you have goods you're selling or services you're providing, you might not have people that are really, really eager to put in their best. They might do things that would, cost you money. And at that point in time, what's on your mind is, I can't trust these people, and I can't leave this work or the job for them because they will ruin my business. And in doing that, you won't be able to build a structure, because you will be the one to handle everything yourself, and they are just there to assist you. So that was one of the issues I had for years. I would say, truthfully, this is 3 years and a month. It's just this year I was able to, put myself out of the business, pull myself out of the business in a way that if I am not around, production can still take place. But I would say the first 2 years it wasn't possible because I was worried about everything. I didn't want them to make mistakes because mistakes will lead to losses in my own business. So I was always worried, and because of that I didn't even bother training anybody to be able to handle the job at hand if I'm not there. I do everything myself. So that was one of the challenges.
So if I get you correctly, the first and the major challenge was funding, money.
Yeah.
So of course you need money if you're going to build an effective system, effective structure rather, for your business. And then you need money to pay salaries. You need money to say buy equipment and things like that, right? Okay. And then the second challenge in building a structure was training the right people for the job. Or even I think from what I get, I think one of your main challenges was an internal struggle with yourself to say to yourself, you know what, just let go, train the people, and then let them handle the job.
Very true.
Which truly is one of the challenges that most business owners face, because we feel that nobody can run our businesses as well as we can. Nobody can put in the work as much as we can. But if you look at most of the successful companies out there and most of the big companies out there, look, the founders of those companies are not around.
Very true.
You will hardly even see them in the office.
That's true.
They get the business running and then they move on to the next, to trying to build the next business. And so they can build, once they have those structures in place, they can build consecutive businesses, right? But most entrepreneurs don't have the discipline to do that, or maybe they're just afraid, like you said, to train people and let people run their business.
True.
You started off by saying that one of the first statements that you made was that you realized that you were the business and the business was you.
Yes.
And so you couldn't. There were no days off, basically.
Exactly.
There was no day off. It was always work. Okay, awesome. That's amazing. Now, in the midst of all you were saying, there were a few things that I also picked up, which you didn't say directly, but by inference, I was also able to, and maybe also because I have a little bit of inside information as to how your business is doing and how it's running.
Okay.
But so one of the things, apart from funding and apart from people, one of the things that helps us to build structure in our business is the systems that we're running, the processes, having an understanding of the processes. So I don't know if you can speak to us a little bit about that, how you were able to identify the processes within your business, and how you were able to get people to learn those processes and work within those processes.
Okay. So because I started my business, I started small. I didn't have the basic equipment you would use for production. So everything was more of was done manually and not in a very professional way, I would say. For example, when we have to fry the plantain and you have to slice, because you're slicing manually, there's a way I do it, I learned it on my own, and it becomes difficult to explain it to someone that this is how you hold the knife, or this is how you hold the slicer and hold your plantain. Don't apply too much pressure. There's no way to measure those things. Unlike when you have a slicing machine and you say just slice the plantain. Your own is to just put the plantain there and the machine will do its work. You understand? So we also had issues with, I also had issues with the hotness of the oil. So I'm I had my own way, because since I didn't have a thermometer to measure the heat, I would say, okay, when the oil is bubbling in a certain kind of way, I know it's ready to receive, the slices of plantain in it. So when I have someone that, even the person assisting me then, if I have to explain, it was difficult explaining that, okay, this is how you know. So in that way, you won't be able to really putting structure, like they can follow, okay, these are the steps to do these things, you understand? So it was a lot of, I had to think of a way before I got the thermometer, but it's easier now because, like I said, you have the funds now, you're able to buy these things, the machine, buy the thermometer, and you can say, okay, once the oil is 100 and this degrees, you start slicing. You understand? Unlike allowing your ancestors whisper to you that the oil is hot enough for you to slice your plantain, you know? So like having the funds now, we're able to put some things on ground where you can now say, okay, follow these steps. When you get your produce, you wash, you peel, you do this, you understand? You slice this way, just put it this way. This is how to handle the machine. This is how to place the machine. This is how to use your thermometer to gauge the hotness of the oil. You understand? This is how long you leave it out. This is how you salt it. This is how you measure the plantain before slicing, so that you know how many grams you're slicing at a time.
Oh, that's a lot of
So
processes.
it's a lot of process. It's not just the way people do it by the roadside, just anyhow. You understand? The oil has to be hot to a certain degree. The plantain has to be sliced in a certain way. There's a way you turn it so you don't break the plantain while it's frying. So the process is long, and with the things we have in place now, we are able to explain these things to the staff, and they learn it, in some months, and then they're able to do it themselves, even without me being there, and get exactly the same result I would get, which was the initial issue. That they won't be able to get the results, consistent result. Yes.
Yeah.
But now when you taste it, you would think I made it myself. So putting those structures were not easy. You get frustrated, but it's worth it at the end of the day.
Amazing. This is such an interesting conversation. So we're going to take a very short break, and then we'll come back and we'll pick up where we've left off.
Thank you.
trendybeats.com.
Hello and welcome back, my friends, to the Law and Business Clinic on Aloore Radio. Once again, like I said, we're streaming on Aloore Radio. If you're just new to this program, this is Aloore Radio. You can check out our Facebook at www.facebook.com/Aloore Radio. We are also on YouTube. Simply look for our channel on YouTube. It's called Aloore Radio. Or you can visit our website, www.aloreradio.com, for all the information that you need concerning this and a lot of other programs that we have on this platform. And to make it very easy for you, you can download our mobile app on the Play Store. So just look for the Aloore Radio mobile app on the Play Store. Now, we are talking today about building structures for your business and the importance of building structures for your business. And if you're just joining us now, we have with us in the studio today the CEO of Celia's Kitchen Nigeria Limited, one of the fastest growing indigenous FCMG, that's fast moving consumer goods producers in Ibadan. And this is the CEO, Mrs. Linda Ochai. Thank you once more. It's a pleasure to have you in the studio.
Thank you.
Like I said, we're talking about structure and building structures for your business. We have talked a lot. We have spoken about the need, for finances. We've talked about where people and staffing come into play, in building your company structure, your business structure. Okay. We've also discussed the processes, understanding the processes, and then being able to teach your staff the processes. If you're not here when we started, one of the things that we mentioned is that one of the challenges that plagues so many entrepreneurs, so many business owners in Ibadan and beyond, is that they are the business and the business is them. And so, like you rightly said, when you started, you had no days off, because any day you take off is the day that the business will not function. Right? And so the goal is to be able to have the business function effectively even without your physical presence there. Of course, we made mention of some of the companies. We gave examples of companies that are doing really well, out there. And a lot of times the founders of those companies are not on ground.
True.
They come in once a month.
You don't even see them.
Right, exactly. But the company is still running efficiently.
Yes.
Look at Dangote, for instance.
Oh.
How many times do you think Dangote has gone to sit in at the cement factory?
I did work in one of his factories as a food microbiologist. I don't think I ever got to meet him one day.
There you go. There you go. So, and I think really that's the only way that a company can scale and grow. So, I want to take this conversation in a slightly different direction.
Okay.
Because I know that one of the reasons that people are afraid to allow their businesses to scale, one of the reasons that people are afraid to let other people run their businesses is this fear that that their staff would run away with their ideas, or their staff would steal their customers, or things like that. Have you encountered these kind of things in your business, and how have you been able to overcome them, if you have?
Okay, yes, I have, and I must say it's a very painful experience, because it's even more, it's not like you don't want someone to do exactly what you're doing, but if that person hasn't even put in anything, like I've been in a situation whereby I employed someone, she only spent a month or two, and then she just didn't, no formal like telling me, okay, writing a notice, thank you, like, oh, I'll be leaving, or I don't want to work anymore for whatever reason. But the next thing I knew, I just saw this person advertising her own plantain chips, and I felt so bad, because I was just starting at this point, and this person only worked for a month. She had not put in anything. It's like I just basically trained you and paid you a salary, and then you run off to start your own business. Exactly the same thing I was doing. So, but what I want to say is that it shouldn't make you feel bad, because they can never do it like you do. Okay, there are a lot of things you put in place, even when you're starting small, that they will not be able to make those sacrifices, because they don't want to go through so much stress. So I felt bad at that point in time, but now I've been able to put in some structure in a way that people will not just steal knowledge from me. You understand? So it's also something that you cannot, how would I say it? Maybe you don't have a total control over it.
Right.
Anybody can still leave tomorrow to start, and you can't do anything about it. But I'm sure you can sign this when your lawyer comes in play. You can sign an agreement that if you leave this job in 3-6 months or whatever time, because you can't say you must work here for 5 years.
Right.
You don't have the right to start this business in the next 1 year.
Right. So that's called, and that's what we call a non-compete agreement.
Okay.
Right. It's called a non-compete agreement. So there's a non-compete agreement, and there's also what you call a non-disclosure agreement. So a lot of times what you see is that people will fuse those two agreements together, and so what you end up with is something called a non-disclosure and non-compete agreement. And so basically what that does is that whoever comes to work, because typically companies that are producing whatever it is they're producing, whether it's clothes, whether it's consumables, whether it's even software and applications, typically they have what is called they have their trade secrets. And so for instance, Coca-Cola, the Coke bottling company, the producers of the common Coca-Cola, they are said to have the recipe, right? That's their trade secret. And so not everybody knows that recipe. In fact, it is said that only 2 people in the company worldwide at any point in time know this formula, right? And so they go to great lengths to protect this formula, and to even in fact, so for instance, these 2 people are never on the same plane at the same time, because what if the plane crashes? Right. So that means the only 2 people on earth who know the formula would be gone. And so that would be catastrophic for a company like Coke. So like I was saying, a lot of companies do make their employees sign a non-disclosure and a non-compete agreement. So what that does is that the employees are not allowed to they are not allowed to divulge any information concerning the production of or the process or any other intellectual property within that company.
True.
And then secondly, they are also not allowed to set up an identical business. But the thing with a non-compete, I beg your pardon, a non-compete agreement, which I must point out, is that it has to be restricted to a location. And so, for instance, if your business is set up in Ibadan,
yes,
and covers, let's say, Oyo State or the Southwest, then your non-compete agreement must be clear in the fact that they must not set up their own competing businesses within your own area of operation, right? So they may, for instance, go to the north, go to Abuja, they may go to Port Harcourt or wherever, and set up their own companies there, so things like that. But yeah, I mean, those documentations are very important, and it's good that you pointed that out.
yes.
Yeah.
So that's very important to guide your intellectual property. Now also your staff working for you, and then learning everything and putting it out there, that's one issue. You also have issues of people stealing from you while during production. If you're doing something or you're producing something edible, there's a whole lot that can go wrong. They can steal the produce that you've not processed yet.
Right, so it's raw material.
Raw materials.
Okay.
They can steal the already processed produce.
The end product.
Yes. So they can even steal your customer. So just different things. So you just have to put some measures in place. For example, I had to get cameras installed so that I can monitor also, so that I can know that these people are following the rules, and regulations that have been put in place.
And they're not stealing anything.
Exactly. Because even things as small as, the simple hygiene, wash your hands, do this before you do this, when you touch this you have to wash your hands. A lot of people don't want to go through that stress. They don't see the reasons why they should wash their hands. So if you have your camera there, you can always go back and watch, who is breaking your rules,
right,
or the rules of the company. So it's very, very important. That way you're able to monitor them closely, and if they know that they are being watched, they will be careful.
That's what I was even thinking. Like, the mere fact that there's a camera there, a lot of times they see the camera, they know that there may be somebody watching at that moment.
Yes.
So that uncertainty, that fear, would even keep them,
hold them back.
Yes. That's. So let's take the conversation up a notch.
Okay.
Company culture. do you think it has anything to do with building a structure? And by company culture, I simply mean, um, the things, the values, that your company believes in. So, for instance, if your company believes in punctuality, or if one of your company cultures is that you want a flexible work environment where people can talk freely, or if one of your company cultures is excellence or cleanliness or whatever. So, do you think that company culture has any role to play in building a structure?
Yes, it does, because when you're running production, you have different things you have to do at different points in time. So if anyone decides to stroll in at any point in time to work whenever they feel like it, you won't get anything done. It will mess up the whole system. For example, a lot of times we like to source fresh produce from the farm market in the morning, not a day before. Sometimes if we know that okay, this is what we need a day before, we can get, but we want to source in the morning and then process that produce that same day. So there is a time for the getting the produce. Well, there's a time when it has to arrive, at the factory, and then cleaning it, processing it. The time it takes a whole day. So if we say work starts at 8 a.m. and then someone comes by 9, you've disrupted the whole thing, because that means you will not be able to leave work at when you're supposed to leave work. You leave work later than that time. You understand? And so it's very important. That's one of our policies, that if you don't come to work by 8 and you come even 1 minute past 8, you have 200 naira deducted from your salary. Now we do that because we know that their monies are very important to them. They don't want to joke with even 5 naira. So I noticed that when I allow them they come late. What happened? They'll give you one flimsy excuse. You let it go, you give them a warning, they do it repeatedly. The moment you deduct that 200 naira from the whole salary, they sit up. They don't come late. It's just if they are running it late for any reason, they will call you and say, ma, something happened, or I might not come to work on time. This is something they will not usually do.
Interesting.
So that culture is very, very important.
Interesting.
Yes.
Oh, that's an interesting one. Some companies in their efforts or in their attempts to create or to establish that company culture, they do things like company retreats or team bonding and all of that. So do you guys also do? So one of the things I didn't tell the viewers is that you employ a complete female staff, because one of the things that I know that your company is believes in is empowering young women.
Yes.
Right. So you employ a 100% female staff.
Yeah.
So so two things. How do you even cope with working with so many women? Because before they come for me now, I hear. Let me just say, allegedly, women are not easy to work with. Allegedly. So how do you cope with that in the first place? And then are you involved? Do you do any like team bonding for your employees? With the view to building that company culture.
Okay.
And cohesion.
So for your first question, how do I cope working? I do just fine. It's not easy because most of them are mothers. They have children, and you will find issues like, oh, please, my child is sick or something, and you'll be able to know how to address it, how to assist them. You understand? And you also have young ones that are not married, that probably don't have any responsibility because they have their parents, they live with their parents, and they have everything sorted out for them. They just need to come and work. There are different issues that could come up, but I believe that since you're trying to, apart from providing a job for them, help them, groom them to become something, to make something of themselves, you would leave room for mistakes, know how to handle them, correct them, talk to them when they go astray or they do something wrong. So I'm able to handle them just fine. And then for the team bonding, yes, we do once a month. We actually picked every last Friday of the month to do something fun. I know that working can be very stressful. So just for a time to unwind and just have fun. So like for this month already, we've done the one for this month. Last week Friday, we went to the cinema. So we go see a movie. You take everyone. We wear our branded T-shirts.
Interesting.
We go have fun. So I just do different. I make sure they experience different beautiful activities. Have fun and things that most of them have not ever experienced before, or would not even use their money to pay for. So these things cost a lot, but it's very important because in that point in time we're able to talk about business, because after we are done with the whole activity of fun having, we sit down, we talk. I try to ask them what they are going through, to find out what challenges they're having at work, contributions they would like to make to the the jobs that we have, or just talk, rub minds together.
I see.
But since they are just done having fun, they're free with you. They're able to tell
more
you.
Relaxed.
Yeah, they express themselves and say, this is what it is. Auntie, let's do this or this and that, and we're able to put things in place or address certain issues on ground.
Wow.
So that's what we do.
Oh, that's really nice. That's really nice. So it's like so all the money you're spending, it's like an investment, really, at the end of the day.
Yes, it is.
That's amazing.
That's amazing. It does not guarantee that most of them will give you their best or stay there and work for a good number of years, but it's important. It is important.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. So then my next question is this. You said at the time you started your company, you were basically running a one-man show. You were the CEO, you were the marketer, you were the production manager, and everything else in between. Now you've been able to create a bit of structure within your business. So my next question is this. Does the structure you have created currently, does it give you the opportunity to step away from your business, and how comfortable would you be allowing those that you have on ground to run the business in your absence?
Okay. Presently, yes, I can actually step away from my business for a few days because I've put lots and lots of structure in place. For example, even from sourcing of produce, I already have my people there at the farm market. All I need to do is put a call through to them and tell them this is what I want. They send me a video, WhatsApp video of what I want to buy, and let me select what I want. And then we discuss price, on the phone. And all my staff needs to do, one of them will just go pick up the produce from the market,
I see.
get a cab, and then bring it back to the factory. You understand? And then they start production. Now I have other things that I've put in place, like even sourcing for gas, oils. I provide those things like oils on ground because you can buy them ahead. They don't go bad. You just buy kegs of oil and keep packaging material. You make sure those things are on ground. But the things that they need, like maybe the gas can finish or they need fuel to put on the gen to work, you can always make that available by maybe sending money to the person in charge, the manager, to handle those expenses. Now, since there's also a camera, I'm able to watch them, monitor them, and know, okay, they're peeling plantain now. Oh, they started frying. Oh, okay, now they're packaging. The only thing they don't do for me is supplying my customers. I do that myself because I also believe that it's very important that you don't allow your staff to know the entire process of your business from sourcing.
A to Z.
Yes, so sometimes that's why I don't allow them negotiate with my suppliers. They just go and pick up. You understand? They don't discuss pricing or anything. They just get me what they need. They know I need. You understand? And bring it back. I've spoken to my supplier already. So since they've gotten the produce, they know the process of production. They shouldn't know who my customers are. I can't tell them go to this person and supply, go here and supply, because what they're going to have, if that client keeps seeing them, they will have a relationship. Oh, okay, I know this person. When they bring their own products, when they decide to betray you, those people can start buying from them. So I don't allow. I do that to protect my own business. So I do the supply myself, which at a point in the business I will still employ someone that would handle distribution of products. You understand? Get my marketers. They have their own offices. They have no business in the factory with the factory workers, because the truth is these people can be funny at times. Very funny.
So what I'm hearing from you is, and it's very also important for our viewers to note, is that even when building a structure putting a structure in place doesn't mean you just go off and fold your arms and just forget about it.
Oh, not at
Yeah,
all.
you have to put checks and balances in place to stop people from taking advantage of the system.
Yes.
Okay, that's a very important lesson.
Yes.
That is actually a very important lesson because if you don't protect what is valuable, then and that thing gets stolen or destroyed, you only have yourself to blame. Fantastic. So it's been an amazing, a very enlightening session.
Thank you.
Very, very enlightening session. I don't know if you have any final words for our viewers.
Okay, I would say that it's very important to start small. Do not be discouraged by the whole process, or if you see an already established business, someone else is running, and you're like, how will I get to this point? Growth is very, very, it will take place. There will be growth. Just start, take a step, and you just keep going and building little by little, and before you know, you get to a point whereby you own a very big business that can run in your absence, and all you have to do is just relax, because you even have people monitoring those businesses for you. So I'm just going to say, start small, start with what you have, start where you are, and try and get basic informations online, or reach out to people that you feel that are doing the same thing, and then you learn from them. Yes.
Thank you so much
You're
for sharing
welcome.
your wealth of knowledge with us. It's truly been an interesting session.
Thank you.
Thank you for honoring our invitation as well to
You're welcome.
come and gist with us. So, my dear viewers, there you have it. We've come to the end of yet another edition of the Law and Business Clinic on Aloore Radio. Thank you so much for being with us, for staying with us, and we really do hope that you've been able to get some things, learn some things that you'll find valuable to your own businesses. And until next time, same time next week when we meet again, we'll say God bless you. Have an amazing week.
Bye.
Share, listen to Aloore Radio on Facebook. Aloore Radio, the voice of Oyo State.